Hey friends, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy GM Prep. In today's episode, I'm going to be running my session 0 for my Numenera campaign. So we're going to be talking all about Numenera today. This show is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. If you want to help support shows like this, you can do so by becoming a patron by clicking on the link in the show notes below. Patrons get exclusive access to all kinds of stuff, including guidelines and generators and adventures and video previews and all sorts of stuff, an exclusive Discord channel. But most of all, they help me put on shows like this. So to the patrons of Sly Flourish, thank you so much for your support. I am so excited to run a Numenera campaign. I love Numenera. Numenera is a system. I think it's my favorite D20 system. I really like it. I really like this system. Why am I not playing more of this instead of D&D? I like D&D a lot too, right? And so I love D&D, but man, I really dig Numenera for so many reasons. And you're going to see why. I did a whole preview of Numenera in one of my Lazy D&D talk shows. You can find that in the Lazy D&D talk shows. Do some searching and find it. So I could talk about why I liked it so much, but you're going to see a lot of it in action as I am prepping. So as I mentioned, today is a session 0. So session 0 prep is different than the prep for a normal session, but we're going to be doing a little bit of regular session prep today as well. We got a lot to do. So get ready, get your coffee. I got my coffee right here. Get your coffee and we're going to do some work. So I built a Numenera campaign Notion notebook. I will paste this in the show notes below. Yes, a big question that's going to immediately come up is, how long is this campaign going to go? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be 6 months. Right? I think it will probably be longer than 4 sessions. I don't know where it will go in there, and I don't know anything else. One of the big questions that I had, I was nervous kind of getting this together because I have so much Numenera stuff. I back all their Kickstarters. I have so many books. I have dozens, more than 100 Numenera books, maybe? Certainly dozens of Numenera books. And I was like, which of them am I going to use? I need to use them all, right? Particularly with adventures. I was thinking, which adventure do I want to run? Do I want to run an adventure? And I actually decided after reading a bunch of the adventures, I read Slaves of the Machine God, I read Jade Colossus, and then I read a bunch of one-off adventures that are in Numenera Discovery. And I ended up saying, you know what? I think I'm going to run my own. I think I'm going to do a campaign. I went back to that. If you recall, at one point I did a poll of my players and how much they enjoyed my campaigns. And the Eberron homebrew campaign was liked by both of the groups that I ran it for, by both me and by my group. So I said, I think I'm going to capitalize on that. I know I'll be kind of skipping all of these published things that came out, but I can always harvest them for stuff. And with Jade Colossus, I'm definitely going to harvest it for stuff. But wouldn't it be more exciting if I ran my own campaign from scratch? So I think that that's what I'm going to do, and we're gonna talk about that today. So, most importantly, I have the session 0 prep to-do list. So this is the work that we are going to do today, you and I. Right? We are going to prep this whole thing. So the first thing I need to do is set up the session 0 notes themselves. These are notes that I want to use during the session 0. What are the specific things that I want to do? These are the session 0. You can see I took a lot of artwork from the books and pasted it into the Notion notebook to kind of get my head in the game, right? I really like modifying the Notion notebook to help me feel like I'm in that world a little bit, right? So what is the elevator pitch for this campaign? And I think I kind of don't know yet, right? But I got to think about this because there's a couple of elements that I'm going to do. There's definitely, help. It's a little like Frost Maiden, and it's, help the people of the town that I'm going to run in, right? What's the name of the town? I go to my locations here. Bodrov. I'll talk about Bodrov. I've done a little bit of pre-work before this for the record. So this isn't like, hey, look how fast Mike can whip up a campaign, because I've already been thinking a lot about it. And I've been throwing a lot of stuff in my Notion notebook. As you can see, I've done a lot of prep in the Notion notebook already to get ready for this. And I did that mainly because there's no way I could do all of this in an hour, right? It didn't take me hours and hours and hours, though. I'll tell you that. So the people of Bodrov, known as the Queen's Plateau, help the people of Bodrov. What is the main, so the main theme, the one word theme is going to be discovery, right? This is all about discovery. This is all about, finding the artifacts. Our heroes work together to dig into the remnants of the ninth of the I can't spell remnants. The remnants of the 9 previous worlds. Is it 9, right? I think it's 9. And use those discoveries to help the people of Bodrov. I think that's part of it. Another part of it is navigate the delicate balance of a people just rising from, what is it called? What's the... They're just starting to get out of sort of tribal things and, from tribes to society, right? Like there's groups are starting to grow and become sort of, there are 8 previous, the 8 previous words. We're in the 9th one, right? So these are sort of the themes. They're not super strong yet. And maybe I'm going to have to come back and fix these, right? But I think the main thing is the idea of discovery, I think is really important. It's really the main theme that I'm going to run here. So the 6 truths of the campaign, right? There have been, and this is like mostly about Numenera, 8 previous advanced, is it even a society? It's greater than a society, right? We're going to use the society. 8 previous advanced societies, civilizations, perfect, in the world that have having risen and fallen. Many of their artifacts, locations, and even people reside deep in the depths, reside in the depths of the earth, of their ruins beneath the earth. All right, that's a good one. What other, and we're going to, instead of 6 truths, we're just called the truths, right? Maybe 6. What other, the people of the 9th world in the, and we have to pull up our discovery here. This is, so if you want to follow along, and you can get books on sale at different times of the year, Numenera Discovery is kind of the newest version of the Numenera core book. And a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be using comes from that. There's a few different products that I have been looking at and studying. But if you want to really dig into the game, Numenera Discovery has everything in one book that you need to run this game, including character information, world information, monsters, adventures. It's got everything in one book. I love one book RPG solutions, and this one definitely does. You can generally, a lot of times they have humble bundles and stuff like, or bundles of holding where you can get lots of Numenera stuff for cheap. I'd recommend taking a look for that, but picking up the core book is not a bad idea. So we're going to look in this because it's got lots of stuff about the world, and we're going to look into the setting. So the steadfast, right? Lots of information about the steadfast here, but the steadfast, the people in the 9th world and the steadfast have grown out of mere survival and tribal groups into a more advanced society, yet one far less advanced than the 8 who came before. So that's a good one. I think we're going to have, so factions is definitely going to be a thing that I'm going to use to tie together like longer term arcs in this campaign. Like who are the main factions and villains. And so villains is definitely something that I'm going to, and I want to have 3 villains. So I got my 3 villains, but I also have 4 factions that are going to come into play. That's going to fill in one of the truths. Another truth, our story begins in the city of Bodrov, the Queen's Plateau, which sits atop a table-like structure with ruins beneath, and within and beneath, right? So I picked this place. I thought Bodrov was a really neat place because I have a picture of it. It's a city that sits on like this massive pillar, right? And because the city can actually hold significantly more people than it does, but getting things from the lower parts of the region around to the higher parts is difficult, right? So Badrov City Plateau, home to roughly 1,000 people, which sits atop a table-like megastructure filled with ruins above and below. All right, cool. I kind of like it because it's sort of gray hockey. One interesting thing about Numenera, and this became clearer to me the more I started thinking about how I'm going to run it, is that it is crazy science fantasy stuff, right? Lots of weird things going on, creatures you've never heard of before, class and character information you never really heard of before. Feels very, very different, right? But it also is basically a D&D campaign, right? You can run it like a D&D campaign, and you'll see that a lot of the tools I use to run my regular D&D campaigns fit perfectly well in this, and the style can fit perfectly well. So it's something that I like about it is the structure is familiar enough that it's pretty easy to run, even though it's also got all this crazy zany science fantasy stuff, which I think was a design thing that is clear in how they made it, but isn't clear until you actually start to dive in. It's something that only became, even though I've been reading and running, I've even played and run some Numenera before, this didn't really sit in with me until I was really thinking about a longer campaign. Any other truths that we need right now? What are the most important things the characters need to know? So we're going to have the factions, right? Factions vie for power in the region of the steadfast, who use the threat of the chaos of the beyond to bring people in line. These include, and the factions include, and we're gonna dig into a few because they're gonna become patrons and stuff like that. Yeah, the Amber Papacy, right, is the Amber Papacy, and then there's a few other factions. I guess we might as well look them up right now. So we're gonna go to the setting, and I want to go to organizations. So the Order of Truth, right? In fact, let's go build some. We're gonna build some cards in the database here. That'll help my other problem. And we'll call them NPCs. I have factions, but I'm also going to put them in the NPC thing, right? And the Order of Truth, established by the original Amber Pope, right? So we're just going to grab this first paragraph here. So I have that. And that's where the Amber Papacy operates, right? So they're one faction. Another faction, let's see if we can get rid of that. The Convergence. These guys are using it to grant power to themselves, right? Do people know about the Convergence, or is it secret? That one I'm not sure about. They are a faction. Let's stick them under both. Small organization, 100 men and women, but with underlings, guards, and lackeys, right? So they're sort of the power players in the background that are seeking out. They're seeking out information for personal growth, right? For personal power. So that makes them a good villain, a good villainous group. The Angulan Knights, I really like this. I think they're very cool. Angulan. I'm almost certainly gonna, let's see, we'll grab this whole part. A key is to try to figure out how to make these factions not all bad. Although the Jagged Dream, I think they're I think I'm going to skip that one. So Jagged Dream, I think they're crazy cultists. Who doesn't love some cultists? So how many of these are Jagged Dream or villains, right? And I think not the Knights, I mean, all of these can be villains, right? But probably only Jagged Dream actually is. Cultists, certainly not. But I think I definitely want to have them come into play, right? So I think we want to just talk about the Amber Papacy, right? The strongest of these is and what are they called? Hey, look, it showed up finally, but they're not called that. The Order of Truth. Do I have two of those? Yikes, I think I have 2 pages of those. Yeah, I do. Stupid me. I got to combine these 2 pages because I already apparently created a page for this. So we will delete this guy. There. Okay. What else? We probably want to say that we probably want to bring them up. The order of truth is probably pretty clear. Although I think there's the knights I want to bring up as well, right? So we'll put them in our as a faction, right? And I'm going to make a little bit of this up, but they seek to recover their, let's see. So what do they have? The Aeon Priests, right? Seek discoveries of the Lost Worlds. Seek discoveries of the Lost Worlds to bring forth a new age for the people under the order, right? They consider everybody the order. The other truth is that there are how many? The steadfast is ruled over by, this is an important bit. This is a good one. This is a good, we're going to just stick that right in here. Stupid hardline breaks. Kind of a big one, but it matters. Though the queen has a residence in Bodrov, she never visits it. Is ruled over by a what? What is a good, I don't think there's actually, let's take a look and see if they describe it in here. Neverine cities, Bodrov is uniquely defensible, sits atop plateau, winning path. So there's no description of who rules over it. Would it be a duke, a viceroy? Viceroy sounds cool. And then probably need an NPC for this, right? I don't know a name for them yet. Notice how now the Numenera campaign database shows up. It didn't show up before, but now it does. So what a good name for a viceroy. Let's go to grab some random names here. Think Uanos, Viceroy Uanos. Is that a good one? Griffin, Viceroy Griffin. Vans. The Viceroy Vans is no good. Papacy, not Pap. Papacy. Thank you. Viceroy Lehman, Viceroy Uanos. Oh, we'll go with Uanos. That's fine. It's my new trick. Like always put their title in their name, and that way they're kind of easy to remember. And what are they like? What would is the Viceroy kind of an idiot? Is he kind of a smart guy? I guess we could try things out. Why don't we, for funsies, let's roll on the fantasy. Let's decide. We're going to let the dice do some work for a change. Oh my God. We're not going to get anywhere. I guess I should have started the show a little late. So let's see. They are a 14 stern. Okay. What's their occupation? 18, a stern doctor. Okay. Do they have an origin? Let's take a look at their origin. It might be interesting. 19. A primate? No, I don't think so. 10, a holographic doctor. Maybe he appears as a hologram sometimes. So you can use the origin table to kind of make something interesting about somebody, but actually we're going to use another tool. So Viceroy is a stern doctor. Probably was given the post for work he did for the queen. And it's retirement, right? We're going to use Injecting the Weird is a big bunch of random tables that you can use for weird things. And so we're going to do weird things about a person. You'll see us we're going to use this table a lot. I think he probably has a pet that hangs out with him. And that pet is, I need D100s for this. 76, a reptile that can generate a powerful electrical charge between its front legs. He has a pet. And let's look at a weird thing for him. Weird NPC. 34. The man's head is fake. His real face is on his chest. What if he has like a hologram head? Would that be weird? Is he sort of an AI? Please state the nature of your medical emergency. I kind of like that. What was that doctor's name? The doctor, the hologram doctor? But I think perhaps he's just called Doctor. He didn't have it. Didn't they give him a name? I thought they eventually gave him a name. They decided it was Joe. This is retirement for him. Has a hologram head. His personality was captured in a artifact that he has in his chest. Probably the real one died long ago. Who knows? Bad experiment, but he managed to keep his post. So now he is the Viceroy of Bodrov. Cool. So we got an NPC. Did I link that guy to Bodrov? That way I can use the link backs. Very good. Go back to my session 0 notes. So what else we got? Bodrov ruled by the Viceroy. Okay, I think that is probably enough. Villains. For the sake of time, I'm going to jump down to patrons and factions because this is important for our session 0 today. The villains are not quite as important for the session 0s. I need villains, and I'm going to do villains. But really what I need are patrons and factions. And I want to have an Amber Priest. I want to have what are they called? The Knights. An Angulan Knight. I want to have, Aeon Priest, right, sorry. Right. I want to have a local scavenger, and I guess like a local archaeologist or explorer, an independent explorer. And I think we're just going to stick with those 3, right? In the service of I always forget their name. The Order of Truth, right? And then, so I think like the difference here, and I thought about like having like different alignments. There is an alignment in Numenera, but if we think about it, like the Aeon Priest is sort of your lawful, your sort of lawful good, right? I guess you could have, and in that case, you're serving this larger good for all of the realm, which sometimes means that like you would go out and explore and get items that are then returned to the Order of Truth, right? They leave the city, where the independent explorer is like, why would we give anything outside of our city? We need our city to be good. So it's like one of them supports Bodrov directly. One of them supports the larger region. And you can choose, do you want to support Bodrov locally or do you want to support the larger region and get more done, And both are good arguments, right? The Angulan Knight, who serves the Angulan Knights, that they have a different purpose. Angulan Knights, their goal is to rid, I think if we look at their background, I don't know if we're going to have it. We defended in the name of humanity. I don't want to call it Midgard because that gets confusing with Midgard. There are dangers, like the 8 previous worlds are filled with dangers, right? And they're filled with, there are horrors in there as well. And they can get free. And our job is to hunt them down and eliminate them, right? So we use the remnants of the 8 previous civilizations for justice and for defense of the world we have today. So that is sort of the hunt monsters, right? And what counts as a monster is sometimes a good question. Predatory horrors lingering from a non-human past. Right? So this one's all about kind of justice and defense, which could be kind of interesting. And then the last one would be kind of an independent explorer who serves Bodrov, right? So I want to fill in these 3 characters, because they're going to be main characters, even if they're not chosen as a faction. I want the group to kind of pick like which one of these is your faction, right? So for an Aeon Priest, let's go to so what the hell is this thing, by the way? People probably asking somewhere in here. Where'd it go? Yeah. So I created a science fantasy generator to help me with this game. There were certain, because it's like I'm used to this style, but also there were certain things that I felt like were missing when I was going through the Numenera books that helped me generate places. So I created a science fantasy generator based on the first adventure generator page that's in the Lazy DM's Companion. This page is available right now to patrons of Sly Flourish. If you become a patron, go to Uncovered Secrets Volume 2, and it is inside Uncovered Secrets Volume 2 right there. It has names. It's got kind of, it's a different sort of take on NPC and adventure generators than what you would find in the Lazy DM Companion or Uncovered Secrets Volume 1. So let us make our Aeon Priest. What is the Aeon Priest like? So Aeon Priest is 7, is a superior. Oh, I already don't like him. 9, a superior civil leader. I mean, he's an Aeon Priest, right? Give them a name, Josiah. We'll create a new page. All right, create an NPC. So I'm actually going to do this differently. One of the things I did is we're gonna delete that. Let's delete this page. Delete. I'll show you why. How do I delete it? There it is. Because if I go to my NPCs, I already stuck a whole bunch of art and names in here. And here, Maeve, right? I already like her. So all I did was put a name and a piece of art that I liked. And now I have created a new NPC that has a picture already. So what I did is I went through the books and I took pictures of people, and then I created new pages in the database of NPCs with a random name in the picture so that I can quickly generate NPCs. I did about 20 of them that way. We're not going to get through nearly as much as I hoped today. So let's delete Josiah. Maeve the Aeon Priest. Okay, now I need an Angulan Knight. Copy that. Go to my NPCs. And I already had one picked out. McKenna. I thought she was really cool looking. McKenna the Angulan Knight, right? And she is sort of the defender, the resident defender of Bodrov, right? Very cool. So we've got her. And now I need an explorer. Aelin is pretty good. I like Terrence. Terrence looks great, right? He's a cool looking dude. So take a look at Terrence, but let's dig in a little deeper here and see if we can find somebody. I love Navarro and Burham. They might be a fun one, right? But I don't know. I think I might use them for somebody else. Wyla's pretty great. Zyman. But I think we'll go with Terrence here, right? And Terrence will be kind of the third. Terrence the Explorer, who serves Bodrov. So those are kind of our three factions. So whipping up some safety tools. My group here are all familiar with the safety tools that we use, but we have our lines, veils, and we have our let's pause for a minute. And I like to go through all of these with my group again, even though we literally just did it recently, but I like to go through it. And so line are of course no sexual, no non-consensual sexual contact. No violence towards children. I'll probably make another list. I'll probably work through this with my group. Veils, we will probably have consensual. Yeah, right. No PC torture. PC initiated. No non-consensual inter-party violence. You cannot hurt your fellow members without the player being okay with it. What else veiled? Body horror. So body horror might be in there. That might be not even veiled. NPC torture. And we'll talk about, let's pause for a minute. Dink. So we can go on my list. I think, let's go to the companion, right? Hey, Lazy Games companion, help me out here. Session 0 checklist. Where is sorry, that wasn't what I wanted. I want my RPG safety tools. Blood, body horror, burning, cancer. Yeah, see, there's all things. Cannibalism would be veiled. It's weird. I don't expect to drop a lot of it in. But you never know. Harm to animals will be veiled. And, of course, racism. So racism, I think, will be... We're going to put racism in there. Racism, anti-LGBT, because people in the ninth world go all ways. That's probably fine. We'll talk more about it. We can always update. The thing with these lines of veils, you can always update them. So, all right, I think, and then inspiration. What are some good? Horizon Zero Dawn is a fantastic video that captures this. What are good movies that capture the sort of high tech but high optimistic views of this kind of campaign? There are, so Numenera, the book itself, I think, has an Appendix N. Bibliography, right? Let's see what kind of stuff in here really grabs. AI, Adventure Time, Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas is a good one. Fifth Element? I don't know about Fifth Element. It's interesting. Not a lot of TV and movies. But I would certainly say Cloud Atlas. Tom Cruise, Groundhog Day. I guess Fifth Element is not bad. I don't know about Hunger Games. Hunger Games is so dystopian. Firefly is not bad. That's a good one. Minority Report? I don't know about Minority Report. Zardoz, Asgard. Yeah, some of the... I know people are not like super into it, But I think was it Ultimates? What was the Marvel movie that just came out that people didn't dig as much? But I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. And wasn't it the Ultimates? The Eternals. That's it. I thought Eternals kind of captured this style pretty well. I thought it was pretty good. All right, that's good enough. I think, is this solid enough? I think so. Sure. We're going to, I'm going to leave a lot to the discussion with the players too, to let that help steer where the campaign goes. So that took a while. 4 potential patron NPCs. I came up with 3. I'm happy with those. 3 villains. We'll do that later. Interesting locations in Bodrov. So we need to do that. Go through the Lazy DM checklist for the first adventure. Yeah, we're not getting to that today. Offer 3 potential quests. We might do a quick checklist. 3 potential quests, maybe. But I think I'm going to throw them right into a thing. I've got an idea. Be ready for the beginnings of those 3 quests. That was an optimistic list. How long have we been going? 47 minutes. Okay, so we still got some time left. So I'm going to skip villains today because I don't think I need them for today's session. Interesting locations in Bodrov. I definitely need this. So I need some locations. What kind of places? They need a place to stay. They need probably a place to buy and sell stuff. There's probably a civic center, right? Maybe the palace. Are they local to Bodrov? We will find out. I'm not sure. A network of tunnels in the plateau that leads to a spire. A tech temple, right? A temple of the Aeon priests. We need that. Probably a weapons and armor vendor. A place to eat. That's probably enough, right? I don't need to go overboard with this. And this is where we can make heavy use of the injecting the weird, right? Is we can pick up the location, weird things about a location. Weird things out in the wild. Weird things going on inside the structure. Weird things about an ancient structure. Does this have a table of contents? It does not. So we have about that ancient structure. We have things going on inside the structure, out in the wild, weird but not necessarily dangerous creatures. Weird thing about that town. So we can try this. Let's see what we get here. 53. Walls around the city is built to resemble the coils of a massive serpent. We can use that idea. So we have a place to stay. We have an inn. I don't want to, we'll call it a rest, right? The Serpent's Rest. A huge, coiled, segmented serpent. Inside, it spirals up into small apartments surrounding a central fountain of scintillating light. Sure, that sounds cool, right? Now we got a place to rest. A place to buy and sell stuff. Let's go back to my weird table. Try that again. That worked all right. 94. 94. Everyone in town has their brain attached to a central mechanical brain via long cords. That's kind of cool, but no, that was weird. Too weird. We have weird NPCs. Weird aspect of the device. The funny thing is, I need something in between these, right? And I guess that's why I wrote my thing. So let's take a look at my thing. So the place to go buy stuff is a tower. Okay. And around this tower, 14, there's a furnace. That works, right? And we'll give it an origin. Let's roll on this origin. 17. Ooze-based, right? An ooze-based, we'll call it the gray furnace. A tower surrounding a furnace fueled by a strange gray liquid able to melt and reforge most synth, which is hard to do. Okay, we got that one. The Palace of the Queen. We can come up with some interesting stuff for this place. And we know that it's kind of a palace, so we don't need to do that. But we might roll on the monuments just to see what grabs our attention. A brain in a jar. We already know. Brain in a image R5. A sphere. It's spherical, right? Maybe it's a floating sphere. That's cool. Let's take a look at the condition, maybe 18. A glowing sphere, right? And maybe there are transparent lifts, right? Glowing sphere. The Palace of the Queen is a glowing sphere with transparent lifts. And that's where that one guy hangs out. The Temple of the Aeon Priest. That's good enough, right? We don't need to dig too far in that one. The Temple of the Aeon Priest is a 5. A vault. Yeah, sure. And it has, let's see, let's look at condition 9. A luminescent vault. 4. A monstrous luminescent vault. That's cool. What kind of origin? Maybe 14. Oh, so I have a picture of this. I think in my one of my looks, but we'll say it is a glowing, like a luminescent insectoid like vault. Once a temple to strange insectoid gods, but now serves the Aeon priests. Sure. Weapons and armor vendor. That was a 20, a data sphere. Oh, could you buy it virtually? That would be kind of cool, right? A data sphere. You plug in and buy virtually, and the results are constructed and delivered to you by courier. I like that. You buy it virtually, and then it's delivered, and you're like, "Where the hell did this thing come from?" You're like, I don't know. And you plug in, and it's like the Matrix, right? Like this infinite space. Yeah, buying things virtually. It's not very realistic, right? It just, I don't know. Yeah, we don't have anything like that in our world. And a place to eat. Where are we eating? I tell you, I like my little chart here a lot. 6, a ship. Okay, cool. Let's roll again. 20. Megalith doesn't work, but we'll do it. 20. A gravity-defying ship. So there's a floating ship, right? Let's take a look at some descriptions. 8. It is shattered. Sure. And origin. A superhuman shattered ship. I could steal right from Eternals and say there's a floating ship called the let's see, that once served superhumans. What will this thing be called? The basalt spear? The basalt spear? Let's give it a proper name. And we'll just steal a name. Ares spear. How about that? Ares' spear. So now we got some cool locations. All right. The last thing I want to do, did I grab it? I think what we're going to do, let's generate a new session planning template real quick, because I have a strong start. The characters, the ground under the characters collapses, and they find themselves in a mysterious vault beneath the ground, beneath Badrov, and must find their way out. I think I have did I put it in Notion? Let me check. I don't know if I already put it in here or not. So yesterday, one of the things I did not, but I can right now, the sinkhole. Why am I doing this on my phone? It's because the picture of it is on my phone. Image. So yesterday, I didn't find it yet. Yesterday, one of the resources I'm using for this is Jade Colossus, and that's because Jade Colossus has an excellent location builder. One of the features that this thing has is creating ruins, and it's got these really cool tables. It didn't quite hit the mark for me completely, but it's got so it has a whole way to kind of generate small dungeons, essentially, right? And again, we talked about how at its core, Numenera is similar to a D&D game, that you have places you explore. Some of the tables are outstanding. It has a lot of how to build hallways and chambers and interact with them. And I'm like, I'll just steal a Dyson map. I don't need to fill it out, but I would like to fill them out with details. But I said, well, let me try out the process. And I did. And I came up with a very nice, small, concise location called this, and I'm going to call it this. And I just drew it on a piece of paper in my crappy ass handwriting. So they've fallen here. They fall in this one room. There's a hallway. In here is a synth box, a level 4 synth box that's a conveyor. It's a dead machine. They can screw with it to try to get a relic out of it, or not a relic, a cipher out of it. Then there's this weird hall, and it's just like this old construct, right? Like this weird place, some kind of manufacturing place. And inside they can go down the hall. There are different creatures in different places. Some of them are really powerful. And then there's things that they can both fight. There's a Latos adjunct down here, which is kind of neat. That's kind of a weird creature. So I rolled randomly on all their stuff, and it came out pretty well into a nice small 3-4 room mini dungeon, just enough to kind of get the characters involved in the game. And then from that, we can sort of figure it out. So I might not even end up running this, so I'm going to save this, and we can talk more about what is here. But I have enough here that I'm ready to run. And what I really like is you can have ray emitter level 7, and I'm ready to go. Like I know what a level 7 ray emitter is and how that operates. That's one of the really cool things about Numenera's challenge and difficulty system. So I think that kind of gets me. Have I played Cypher and Numenera before? I have, yes. Probably the one thing, and the big one is I got to fill out my character stuff, right? Because we're going to find that out today. So they find out and they have to get their way out. And the location is, let's see if it found the sinkhole yet. It didn't, man. Something about the indexing is slower now than it used to be. Really, but I can do it manually like a barbarian. Right? Now it clicks and goes. Yay. So if I was using Obsidian, I'm sure everything would be perfect. Secrets and clues and stuff like this, I don't really need to do. So I really don't need much. But I'm not going to fill out this whole thing because I'm pretty ready to go. But really, Session 0 is about sitting down with the players, talking about Numenera, talking about the style. I don't know how much we're going to get through, frankly, at all today. But I think that I have got enough to get through my Session 0. There's so much that I haven't covered today. And we're going to talk a lot more. Next session, we're going to talk about the characters. We're going to go through a much more traditional look at doing an individual adventure in our Numenera campaign. We'll start talking about villains. We'll start filling in more details of the campaign. The main thing is to have enough material to put in front of the players today that they can build interesting characters and we can get started. And I think the answer is yes, we do. So I hope you enjoyed my little show today. I know it was pretty chaotic. We're kind of all over the place, but I hope it was enjoyable. If you enjoyed the show, you can help me out by subscribing to the Sly Flourish newsletter, supporting me directly on Patreon, subscribing to my videos on YouTube, or picking up any of my books. All the links to all of that are in the show notes below. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me today on Twitch, and I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, get out there and play an RPG with some of your friends. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.